Well, hello. Welcome to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. Welcome back. I am very excited to bring back a guest that is just the last video we did was so much fun. It was on the Kinks, and he is back now to talk about another huge band, Mr. Alan Rosenberg. Alan, how are you tonight?
I am thrilled to be back here on Careless Mania time. Love it. Always have a ball with you. So thanks for having me back. And this should be a lot of fun because we're going to be ranking the classic Yes albums from the 70s, the era of Yes that I love or don't love sometimes. We'll see. So this should be a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So it was just funny because we always have to go back and forth as to like, okay, what's going to be our next topic? And so there's always like, there's a million bands, a million albums you can talk about, right? So it's like, what are we going to do? And somehow we were kind of talking about some other stuff, and then we're like, oh, maybe. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, Yes came up, and it was like we both just went, oh,
Yeah.
that's it, we're doing Yes. That's it. Because I haven't done any Yes content in a while, and I was like, oh God, they're like one of my all-time favorite bands. So of course you're gonna.
Me too. Especially Yes in the 70s. That's the prime,
Oh
prime
God,
Yes.
yeah. Yes, in the
Yeah.
70's was like barely put. I mean, we'll talk about it obviously, but they didn't put much of a foot wrong in the 70's. A
No,
little bit
no.
here and there, but not much. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's good to be talking about Yes. And we're here, like you said, we're here to rank the 70's albums because trying to rank the whole discography of Yes is that would be a 3 hour video. So and I don't even know some
Yeah.
of
And
the
I,
stuff,
I
recent
actually
stuff I don't even know.
I was going to say, I actually gave up on them on magnification, whatever you would have to look up that. That's the last Yes album that I bought and kept. So I've given up on Yes since then, which is the tragedy. We talk about Yes in the 70s. I mean, growing up in the 70s, Yes was really the progressive band. I mean, just Genesis at that time was my personal favorite, but Yes was right there. And of course, Floyd, those were the big, big, big. And we're going to talk about these Yes albums. They don't get much better than that.
Yeah.
And man, you talk about a band with all these changes and lineups and they kind of really watered down their reputation. I think it's sad because you go back to the 70s, it just doesn't get much better than Yes.
Yeah, and you want to you that I always talk about magical lineups, and you talked about this a little bit in your last video where you talked about albums that you didn't like by artists that you love, and you talked a lot about like, well, the drummer was different, and that changed the tone of it, and you're absolutely right. It's just that group. Sometimes it's that core of group that whatever, 4 people or 5 people that create that magic, and when you start switching people around sometimes the magic gets diluted. It just does, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
want to stick with them.
absolutely.
You like the band. You
Yeah.
want to stay with them. You want to like continue the journey with them and keep going with them. But then sometimes it gets to a point where you're like, this isn't the same band anymore, you know?
Yeah, and actually like that video I did and we were talking about the Who and Endless Wire, but basically like if you love a band, like I love Yes in the 70s and you actually get angry. And you're
Yeah.
like, this is a part of my DNA, my musical DNA. What? Like what? You just want to come on, man.
Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you get frustrated. But
Yeah.
anyway,
No, so anyway, I'm sure that'll come up more as we talk about the albums because there is
exactly.
there is some fluctuation in personnel within the 70's. So
Oh yeah. Oh
yep. So we'll
yeah.
be talking about that. So here we go. We got 8 albums. We just realized it took me, I was like doing the math. How many albums in the 70's? Eight studio records. Uh,
Yes.
and so we are going to talk about the 8 studio records, and we're just going to go back and forth as to our eight to one, basically, is what we're going to do. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so let's let Alan take the lead on this and start it out. And what's your number eight?
So a little deja vu, because if anybody saw my last video, this was in that video. And it's not that this album is so god awful terrible. This album really kind of annoyed me and pissed me off. And the reason why, oh, what is it? We're talking about 1978 Tomato.
Mhm.
Um, the reason why, and I don't want to get out of order, but the album before this was Going for the One, which is one of my favorites. And as a Yes fan in the 70s, when they came back with Going for the One, because Rick Wakeman rejoined the band, that album to me is just magnificent. So I was so excited for the follow-up to come out, which was this album. And I remember listening on the radio and they were playing Don't Kill the Whale. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a cool song. It's missing something. There's something about it. And then when I bought it, I'm like, it's almost there, but it's not quite there, but I still liked it, you know? But
Hmm.
then the rest of the album just didn't, it was just for me such a letdown from Going for the One that this album really, really bothers me. Now, it really bothers a lot of people when I put this album solo because a lot of people are like, oh hell, that's like my favorite Yes album or up there. I don't really get that, but we all have personal taste. But yeah, this is an album that I don't listen to it much, and when I do, it just bothers me. But with that said, the song on here called Onward, which I think is the Chris Squire wrote that song, and there's a great live version on it on one of the Keys to Ascension albums. Oh
Hmm.
my God, that song, my description is I leave my body, levitate, and I see God. That song's up there. So that song is as good as Yes gets. But overall, this album bothers me, so I put it at number 8.
Yep. Yep. No, I'm with you. Onward gives me the chills when I listen to that song. When I crank it up, it's just
Yeah.
it's really good. And I love that you brought that up in your last video because I that's a great song. So what was this 1978? My it's also number 8 for me. So we're
Really? Oh,
yes.
cool.
Yes.
All right. I was
So
nervous.
yeah, no, it's at number 8 for me as well. I had to I was debating a little bit, but I finally was like, I gotta be honest. You gotta when it comes down to these things, you have to really just
Yeah.
be honest with yourself and say, okay, if I'm gonna reach for a Yes album, how often do I reach for Tormato? And the answer is not much. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not to say that this record is bad per se. It's not. It's got moments like you mentioned. Onward, I think is a great song. I think Silent Wings of Freedom is quite good. I also even I like Future Times. So there's a couple tracks on here that I really enjoy. I mean, Release is kind of a good rocker, but it feels generally kind of feels unfocused. There's something about this record that's just not quite there. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really, it's hard to put your finger on it. It's like the production's not that great. It doesn't really sound that good.
That, yeah.
The cover's weird. I mean, the cover is like, what is this? It's like they weren't happy with it, so they threw a tomato at it. Like it's even like disrespect. It's like disrespecting the cover as well, right? So
Did they kind of agree with us? I don't
yeah,
know.
they agree that this is not a good record or something. It's weird. I just find the whole thing is odd. Like, and if you know anything about Yes, you know that at this time they were sort of struggling a little bit. They were kind of having
Yeah.
it. My view of Yes at this time was that they were getting tired. They had been hitting it hard since 1968, 69, like album tour, album tour, album tour, and they were so successful in the 70s. They didn't stop really. They stopped a little bit, but not much. And I think by this point they were getting tired. And that's what it feels like to me on this album. Like they're not
It
quite
does feel like it. And that's the thing that bothers me because Going for the One, which I think is a masterpiece, but you might not, and maybe others don't. I think it's a masterpiece. And they had so much fresh life into that album because Rick Wakeman came back. And I think every song on that album is great. This is only a year later, and it's like hard to believe because this album is just a mess. And I think you nailed it. Like, it's not that the songs are terrible, there's potential there, but
yeah.
they're not very good on this album. And I don't know what it is, the production or the performance of them. There's just something lacking. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
hard to put your finger on. I think, and also I will say Circus of Heaven is just kind of cringy. That's the one song that I'm like, oof, not sure
Which is the
about
one
that.
that the kid, his son's John Anson's his son. Is that the one that with
Yes,
the
yes.
clowns, the clowns? I'm
There were
like,
no
yeah.
candy apples. There were no clowns. It's like this is John, you're pushing my patience, man. I can't listen to your kid talk about clowns.
All righty.
So anyway, so
Oh,
that's
we are in agreement. I don't
yeah.
think we're going to be on agreement on the next one. I'll tell you
People are
that.
yeah,
Somebody take
people
a
are not
beat.
going to like us. We're already making enemies already. But no, I I do like the I'm not saying it's a bad record. I just don't from the 70s, yes, it's not the strongest album for me. And
Yeah,
obviously
definitely.
it's for
That's
you
true,
too.
by the way. Any of these albums, I'll take any of these albums over the more recent ones.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Good point.
yeah.
So yeah. So what do you? Okay, all right. Let's go. So wait. And by the way, real quick, is Tormato? Was it 78? Was it or 79?
78.
78. Okay. I
Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know.
think it's late
I
78,
think
like September 78
late
or
70.
something.
In my mind, it was 78, but
I think you're right.
I don't know.
I think that's correct.
You know, these remastered versions, they tell you the year it came out here, but I think, in my
Right.
mind, I think it was 78.
I
I
think
could be
you're right.
wrong.
I think that's true. So
Okay.
anyway. All right. So let's keep going. So what's your number seven?
So this is the one that is really gonna have people hate me, but the fact of the matter is, what you said is so true. We have to be honest. We're not out to be cool critics. We are out to be honest, diehard Yes fans. And when I rank albums or favorites of anything, it's really based on play. Albums that I play. I'm not into trying to be cool. Oh, this is great. Well, you ever listen to it? Nah, but it's great. You know what? If it's so great, you would be listening to it more.
Right.
All
No.
of these albums are good. All these albums are good.
Yeah.
So they're all classic Yes albums. But out of all of these, the next one, ah, ready? Number seven for me is Relayer, and people
Okay.
love this album.
Yes, a lot of people
People
love that record. Yeah.
people love this. I might get a beating on this. And listen, this is the digitally remastered CD. It's got the nice book. It's got the bonus tracks. So they brought in Patrick Moraz, and that's not the reason why I don't really love it. I think the cover's amazing, by the way. Roger Dean
Yeah.
did an incredible cover on it.
Great
Uh,
artwork.
uh,
I love it.
the problem with this, it's not even that there's three songs, and Gates of Delirium is like, what, 24 minutes long, and then Sound Chaser and To Be Over. The fact of the matter is, none of those songs grab me to my heart. If we'll talk about Close to the Edge at some point. That's three songs as well. How can you compare these three songs to those three songs in my mind? These songs are, I know Gates of Delirium is about war and it's dissonant and it's aggressive but at the end of the day, I just don't thoroughly love it for 24 minutes. And, Sound Chase is okay. To Be Over is interesting. That's got like that Indian, almost like, that Indian instrument. What the hell's that thing called?
Sitar?
George
No.
Harrison. A sitar. It almost has, that's it, like a sitar sound. It's interesting. But at the end of the day, how often do I listen to Relaya? Virtually never. I just don't have a desire to listen to it. And that's why it's all the way down to number seven. With that said, like Onward on Tormato,
Hmm.
the end of Gates of Delirium is soon. And that's incredibly amazing. And they pulled that out as a single, not that it was a hit, but soon is amazing because that's the after effects of the war and Gates of Delirium. I get it, folks. I get it. I'm a Yes
Yep.
fan.
Yep.
Soon is amazing, but soon doesn't, 4 minutes out of however long this album is, does not make a album that I really want to listen to much. So Relay It for me, number seven.
Okay.
Let the, let the hating begin.
Oh boy. Yeah, exactly. There's some diehards are gonna be on you.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's again, this is like Alan said, this is our honest opinion. This is our opinion based on what we hear and what we like. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
So so I am going number seven. I'm gonna go Time and a Word.
Okay.
1970. I do like this album quite a lot. Again, I like all these albums. It's just keep saying that, but I just want to reiterate how much I like these records. Um, but
Nice on vinyl. That's a good vinyl version. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, this is like they kind of did music on vinyl Atlantic. It's kind of a reissue of sorts. This
Yeah,
is
but it's got that cover. That's the original. That's a
the
nice.
original
That's nice.
cover. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
which I
that's
like.
sweet.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I have the other cover too. I didn't pull it. I've got the other one too, and it's
that's the
where they
one. That's the
where they
one.
show what Steve Howe's in there, even though he's not on the album, right, or something.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Weird.
yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, but yeah, I do like a lot of stuff on this record a lot. I mean I know I love Richie Havens cover, No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed. Then is a cool track. I love Sweet Dreams. I love Astral Traveler. Oh yeah, I mean I just there's some really cool tracks. I mean, this is kind of them finding their way a little bit still. The first two records are kind of like them finding where they're going. They're not quite there
Yeah.
yet, but they're almost there, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple tracks that really pop out and you go, ooh, like I can hear like the Yes album coming on from that song or that
Yeah.
part. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, and I do think that this is, this is still Yes Mach 1, right? This is with Peter Banks in the band and Tony Kaye in the band, and
Right.
they were good. Like they were still a good combo. That first lineup was it was a little different, but they were still good. And
Yeah.
and I like a lot of the tracks on this. So it had to go somewhere. I just didn't know where to put it. I finally was like, all right, it's going to number 7. So Time and a Word, their
I
second.
think that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to quickly add on to it because that's my number 6.
Okay, there you go.
And and I actually thought really hard on where to put this one because um, I agree with everything you said. You know, there's a big leap from this to the Yes album, the next album. Really a huge leap in the band. And this album doesn't get a lot of a lot of people knock this album, but I actually kind of like it. It's got some orchestration on there, and people don't like that, but I think it's kind of cool. Um, but I don't mind it. Like you said, the songs you mentioned, I will say that the title track is actually one of my favorite Yes songs. I love the title track of Time and a Word. And
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
great.
when they toured for Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe, and they did Time and a Word live at that show, and it was extraordinary. And it brought this album back to me that I missed it initially, and I was like, oh my God, that song is like such a beautiful, pretty anthem. It really should be better well known, and so that lifted this album up with me as well as the other ones you said. It's a fine record for what it is. It's not
Yeah.
like classic, yes, but I'll listen to this over Relayer and Tomato. So for me, that's at number 6.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Every time I listen to that album and I take it off, and I'm always like the whole day I'm in my head I'm going, there's a word, and the word is love and
It's
it's
coming,
not
it's
for
not
me.
for me. Yeah, it's like, why wasn't that a hit? It's really good.
It's so
It's
catchy.
really,
It's like that catchy
it
chorus.
really is.
It
I
keeps
love it.
going at the end. It just goes and goes and goes. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So if you
Yeah.
never heard the Anderson, Brookford, Wakeman, Howe version, people out there, check that out. It's really good.
Nice, nice. Okay.
All right,
Awesome.
that's my number 6. So what's your number
All
6?
right. So now my number 6, this is where people start hating me. This is where I'm going to get some hate. But again, honesty. And the honesty is Tales from Topographic Oceans is my number 6.
Okay, okay.
And because a lot of people love this, there's a lot of people out there who'd be like, this is their masterpiece, this is amazing. And I've tried so hard with this album. I believe me, people, I have tried. I want to love this record. I really do. There's part of me is like, come on, Tom, start loving Topographic Oceans for God's sakes. But I don't know. It just feels. I kind of agree with the Rick Wakeman thing where he said there was a lot of padding going on. It's like it's a double record. It's 4 close to the edges, basically. But in my opinion, none of these are close to the edge. Like they're not close to the edge was just like perfection. This is like there's again, this is like kind of like Tormato where there's moments where you go, okay, I like that moment a lot. Like that's a really cool moment. Like I think my favorite is side 1, which is what is it?
Revealing Science of God. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes. Revealing Science of God is my favorite song on the album. Um, and then I think it's Ritual. I love Ritual. I mean, and again, that Ritual is almost like Soon on 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 Relayer where it's like
yeah.
cool, it's all of a sudden there's this cool like melodic thing that John starts singing this, he starts singing in a different language or whatever, and you're like, oh, but it's great, uh,
Yeah,
New Soleil or whatever, I love it.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. There's a lot of moments on this record. I just there's moments where I get kind of like, like when's the next thing gonna happen? Like, which never happens with Yes in the 70s. I never feel that way.
right.
This album, I kind of feel that way on at times, like where it's almost like, okay, guys, maybe you should have consolidated a little bit more. I don't know. that's just my thought. I do like this album, but it's not. I had to put it somewhere, and it's at number 6. So
And me and you are spot on so far
wow.
because Tales from Topographic Oceans is my number 5.
Okay.
And I completely agree with everything you said. Except your description was better than anything I've thought of. I never thought of that. Tales from Topographic Oceans really is 4 of Close to the Edge. I didn't really think of that. And Close to the Edge as a song is perfection, and none of these songs approach the greatness of that, and
Right.
yet you got 4 of them. Boy, Tom, that was brilliant. That was
Thanks,
brilliant,
man.
man. No, it really was. Because I know it's really true. I totally agree with you, and to a large extent, I guess I agree with Rick Wakeman. It's like I agree with I think everything about this album was gutsy. Um,
Mhm.
but it's padded. It really is padded. They wanted to do this master work. And if you were to cut each song maybe in half, it would be a much tighter album.
Mhm.
I actually, this is one of those albums, like Jethro Tull, A Passion Play is one of them like that as well. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it, but I got to be in the mood for it. And that's the
Yes.
honest assessment. You
Yes.
know, if I'm in the mood and I'll lay on that couch, this is where I listen to my stereo, and I put this on and I'm in the mood and I'll just melt on the couch. It'll be really, enjoyable. But with that said, to be honest, I can't remember the last time I listened to all 4 songs, all 4 sides in one sitting. It's just too much.
It's a lot. It's a
And a
lot.
really great album shouldn't be like that. I could put on like maybe one song or 2 songs, and I'll be like, wow, that was really enjoyable,
Right.
because I was in the mood for it. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
I think you nailed it. I appreciate it. I love the artwork.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite cover of a Yes.
Oh, it's a great artwork, yeah. And I love the,
Yeah.
like you said, I love you what you said that I love is I love the ambition of it. Like I love that they
Yeah,
have,
it's amazing. Yeah.
you know.
And in fact, actually, I didn't. I was too young. My sister saw this concert, and you talk about the golden age of live concerts. When they played this concert, they played this whole album, and nobody
Wow.
knew the album. Can you
Yeah.
can you even imagine that?
That's
What it
crazy.
was a different time. My
Yeah.
sister said it was great, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, I read
Go
a book
figure.
on
So
Yes, and
thank you.
they
That's my
said
number 5.
yes, excellent, awesome. I love that. I wanted to tell you that I read a book on Yes, and they said something. I remember it was a part about Topographic where they said they like to your point, they played the whole album, and some of it wasn't going down so great. So like I think halfway through that tour, they took like half of it out or something like that.
They took half of it out. Yeah.
Yeah, something
She
like
told
that.
me they played the whole album. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she saw it early. But even if she's exaggerating, even if they played half of that album and nobody knew it because the album had just come out, boy, that was a different time. You
Yeah,
couldn't do that today.
you couldn't do that today. It wouldn't
But
work. Everyone would leave. Everyone would
yeah.
leave.
But I agree with you. And there's Yes fans that put that at number 1. And I'm always like, I always put people to the test. If it's really your number 1 album, how often when was the last time you listened to it from front to back?
Yeah,
Oh, 10 years ago. Then it's not your number 1 album.
right,
It's not.
right.
It's great if you're in the mood, but it ain't your number 1 Yes album.
Here's
So
and
that's
you
my
also mentioned I have to reiterate what another thing great thing that you mentioned, which I thought I was fantasizing about this as well. This is like this is the what if fantasy kind of land, right? Where you're like, what if they did a single record and they like you said, they cut all of these in half and like
yeah.
made it 4 songs on a single record. This might be like awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
You take the best bits of that, and it's really incredible. It's
yeah,
really incredible. But
yeah.
it's like you got to get through it, and you got to be in the mood. I got to be.
Got to be in the. That's a great way to say it too. You have to be in. You're right. You nailed it with the Passion Play. I feel the same exact way about it. Passion Play is very similar with Jethro Tull, where
Yeah.
if you're in the right mood, it's great, but it's like you have to be in a mood for it. I agree. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so all right. Well, so
All right.
we're sort of in lockstep here. It's kind of crazy. I swear, people, we did not share this. We did not share.
No.
Uh,
So that was my number 5. So what's your number 5,
so
right?
my number five
Tails was
is what's that?
that was my number 5, so you have to do your number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is Relayer. So
Okay.
so
Phew,
this
I feel better.
so this album has grown on me over time. It's one of those grower records where I remember it because you summed up a lot of things that I do listen to this record, but it's again, this is another one I feel like you have to be in sort of a mood for it because, like you said, you're right. The Gates of Delirium is really cool, but it's crazy. It's like a crazy piece of music, and again, super ambitious. Which yes, was always ambitious. I was so what's so cool about this band? They just did not. There were like no rules, and Gates of Delirium, like you said, is about a war, and it gets really crazy in the middle. Like it just gets like, whoa, like what is happening? It's like the most crazy they ever get, you know. And
Yeah.
some of this record almost feels like because Patrick Moraz was a kind of a different keyboard player. Some of this stuff feels very like almost fusiony at times. You know what I
And
mean?
dissonant.
Yeah,
It's like dissonant, you know.
yeah,
I
dissonant.
love I love melody in general. Melody is what really grabs me, musical melody or whatever. And Yes has magical melodies throughout, but that album, besides Soon, like I need more melody. I don't know. It's just
Yes, yes, yes. No,
yeah.
I'm with you. I mean, this is kind of like two in a row. So this is right after topographic. So it's like two in a row where they kind of go crazy. And there's not as much, like you said, melody, like just straight ahead songs with melodies and stuff. They go even further out. But there's times where I'm listening to Sound Chaser and I just go, oh my God, this is killer. Like I do love Sound Chaser, like the bass, the do 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 do, it's like, oh my God. Chris Squire's going out of his mind. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I love and I do like To Be Over quite a bit. It's and to your and again, Soon is I mean, the first time I have to admit, the first time I heard Soon was 9012 Live, the solos, where he sings John.
Oh wow. I don't have that album,
Yeah, it's
believe it
like
or
an
not.
EP
Yeah.
almost. It's like a tiny it's like a mini live album, and John Anderson does Soon. And I was like, man, I really like this. Like, what is this? Like, he's just all of a sudden, sooner, sooner, lie. And you're like, oh, this is killer. And they're doing, Steve Howe's doing that like slide guitar. So yeah, it's cool. If I'm in the right mood, this album's really, really, really good, but I have to be in a certain mood for it. So it's
Yeah.
another one of those.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Very
yeah,
cool.
there you go. That's my number five
Righty.
relayer.
Now, now it really, for me, gets to the impossible. The
This is
next
where the rubber
four,
hits the road, baby.
and it's really, really hard because I'm going to choose as my number four. I've mentioned it a couple times already because for me, it's such a special Yes album, but I got to put it below the next three. And that's number four for me is Going for the One. So Going for the One for me was really, really special because my sister's older. She was a huge Yes fan. And you nailed it, Tom. You said it. Tales from Topographic Oceans, I knew it from her and I was listening to it when I was young. And then Relaya came out. I just wasn't thrilled with Relaya even then. And then when this came out, Rick Wakeman rejoined the band, and I was like, thank you, God, this is the way Yes is supposed to be.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that I love every song on this album. I think this album is perfection. I really do. A lot of people don't, and I don't get it at all. I mean, it's got beautiful ballad, wondrous stories, turn of the century with all that 12-string guitar is
Oh,
magnificent. Going
yeah.
for the One is a rocker with slide guitar, parallels with that heavy church organ, and then Awaken is your classic extended Yes masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece. I think this album is perfection, and th- I actually probably out of all of their studio albums, this is probably the one I listen to the most. So it really might should be number one, but I can't honestly say it's better than the three that come after. So this is a really special album because of what you said. It came after Relaya. Rick Wakeman came in. They were on fire, and again, that's why Tormato pisses me off so much. So this is my number four, but in a way, it's possibly my number one because when it comes to Yes studio albums, I probably listen to this more than any of them. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's a great review. The four. I think you're in the same boat. It's like the top four are like in lockstep.
It's
Like
so hard
it's
to,
like the
yeah,
top four are like all great. So you're like, it's got to go somewhere. Like, what am I gonna do? Um, so
right.
I agree with you. I had number four going for the one. That's what I got.
This is so cool. You know, folks, this is live, man. We had no idea. This is cool.
I swear to God, we didn't talk to each other beforehand.
Oh,
We just
no,
said
this is live.
we just said top eight of the 70s. That's all we said. So
Wow.
so yeah, check it out. So this is like a new era for Yes, right? Because Hypnosis does the cover. You got this sort of like different. It's not Roger Dean except for this. That's Roger Dean, but everything else is not. And so look at this. I have to point out 49 cents. Look at that.
Oh my God. That's so awesome.
I bought this a long time ago when CDs were like the cool thing and vinyl was going out and nobody
Wow.
wanted vinyl anymore. So
Now,
yeah.
I got that vinyl album when it first came out. This is the first Yes album that I bought when it came out. It's not my first Yes album, but it was 77 and I was born in 63, so I was 14, pretty young.
Yeah, 14.
Doing this from memory, I think that's a triple gatefold.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yep. Yep.
Oh, there it is. I remember that. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool, actually.
That is pretty cool.
Look at that. I mean, I think they were in Switzerland, so they were in tax exile at this point because they were making so much money as a band. They had to do the Snow in
Yeah.
Exile.
Yeah. I
This is
remember
like
that.
their exile on, I don't know.
They're Exile on Main Street, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Oh,
anyway, but I just reiterating basically everything that you just said. I mean, I really
yeah.
think that there's a joy on this record that seems like they're so excited that Wakeman's back, and I think he's bringing a fresh energy into the band, and I think that he's also bringing his opinions and his, you know, his musicality into it, and it's just, man, you're right. This album's great. Like this is like, I mean, going for the one that and you're like, and it's like rocking. You're like, oh my God, like
Oh
they're
yeah, it's
like
balls out rock and roll. It's
it's
great.
it's a
It's
full
great.
on rocker. It's awesome, and Parallels is killer, and
Oh
man, and like you said, some beautiful songs. Turn of the century, and
geez.
and
Wonder Stories was like a hit somewhere, I think. I don't
Wondrous
know.
Stories is beautiful. I mean, these are like
Absolutely.
beautiful
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah.
John Anderson is an awesome voice as usual, just killing it. And so
Yeah.
is Steve Howe. I mean, Steve Howe, everybody is. Everyone's killing it on this record. And you
Yeah.
could feel the energy just coming off the grooves. And it's still to this day when I put this on, I go, this is a great Yes record. Like this is an awesome
I'm
album.
so glad.
Yeah,
That's awesome,
Awaken
man.
is also another like you said, it's almost like a compact version we were talking about earlier. It's a bit more compact and it's got more melody in it that sticks in your head.
And the different parts, and then there's the part that breaks down with the organ. It's like an
Yeah,
epic Yes song. Like what you said about Tails, there's no fat in Awaken. It's perfect.
yes,
It's
it's perfect.
perfect.
So yeah, but I
Yeah.
it's yeah, number four. I had to go somewhere. It's a great record. I love going for the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is awesome. All righty.
All right. Sweet. All right. We're now down to the top three. Here we go.
Now this gets really, really tough
This gets
because
hard.
obviously
Yeah.
all three of these to me are like damn near perfect albums.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the one I'm gonna put at number three, the Yes album,
Okay.
and you know, uh, you know, I mean, Wakeman's not in the band yet, but when you look at song for song, I mean, this album's incredible. I mean, two of my favorite Yes songs of all time is "Yours Is No Disgrace" and "Starship Trooper." And I've seen All Good People is a classic, although it's one that I don't really need to hear anymore. And Perpetual Change is amazing. So song for song, this is like extraordinary. Um, they're better with Rick Wakeman, in my opinion, later on, but it's perfection. I mean, it's the Yes album, and it's the perfect name because the growth from this album, from the debut and Time in the Word, it's like a whole nother band. Yeah, it's amazing. I always thought the cover was weird. I don't know what to make of that cover, but anyway, I'm a horror movie guy. I'm like, what's with the floating head thing? I don't know,
Just
but
sitting in a dark lit room with a floating head. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but it's an amazing album. I mean, it's perfect. It's the Yes album.
Yeah.
That'd be my number three.
Yeah. What can you say, man? And I'm just gonna come out and say it. These top three they're all 5-star records for me. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. Yeah,
yeah, they're all. I mean, going for the one is almost. It's like pretty close to 5. It's like four and three quarters. Um, if you can do that. I don't know if you can do three chords, but but
Yeah, this is like the greatest albums of all time. These three,
yeah,
all yeah, I
this is
think,
like
yeah,
the cream of the crop of progressive rock, in my opinion. So so I went number three.
absolutely.
I went Fragile. So I'm going a little bit different. For I three. This is, man. I mean, you got to put it somewhere. Awesome, awesome, awesome record. This is the Atlantic 75 reissue, and it just sounds fantastic. And
That's nice.
yeah, yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Did they put the booklet? The original vinyl, I have it. The original vinyl that came with like a booklet. Did they
Yes,
reproduce that thing? I
I
wonder if I
think they
have it.
did. I think they recreated the booklet. Yes, the booklet's really cool. Um, it's
Yeah, it's really cool. I
yeah,
don't have that 75th,
when
but
you're
the
younger, you're
the
like
original
thinking
album came with a.
these guys are so cool. When you're looking at the
I don't have
booklet,
it.
you're like, look at these guys. Uh, let me see.
Yeah,
Hold
the artwork was pretty
Yeah, here
awesome.
it is. Yeah, yeah, it's here.
There it is. There it is. Oh, that's
Yep.
nice that they did that.
Yeah, they did the booklet
That's
and everything.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So there they are, the band, just with their with there's Chris playing his bass, hanging out with his family. I don't
that's
know if you
nice.
guys can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, great packaging too. Like love the packaging. I mean, some great Roger Dean artwork as usual with, oh my
yeah.
God, just unbelievable. So anyway, this album is amazing. I don't know what to say about it. Long distance run around is the fish. I mean, Heart of the Sunrise, Roundabout, just bangers galore. I mean, what else can you
Yeah.
say? It's just like nonstop greatness. South Side of the Sky is like, oh man, that
Oh
it,
my God, that's like my one of. It's you can't pick your favorite Yes song, but that's way up there. Oh
man,
my
when it does
God,
that
I
do do
love
do
it.
do 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 do,
Oh,
breaks down and it just, oh my God, and you're like, oh, this is so great. Um,
oh my God, it's
I mean,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah, and then they do these little vignettes of like, Wakeman takes a little, like does a little Brahms, Cons and Brahms, and then, John Anderson does We Have Heaven, tell the martyr, tell the martyr, down and we have heaven. Yeah, he's
oh,
like
you're awesome.
doing those really high notes or whatever. And then the fish is like, oh, I just love the fish. I mean, I can't get enough
Bass
Chris
solo.
Squire.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just gushing
Oh,
about it. Just an amazing record. So number three, Fragile for me.
so that was your. What was that? That's your number
Number
three.
three, yeah.
Okay. All right. Should I go for number two?
Oh, go ahead, go for it.
All right. So my number two is going to surprise people, but we'll talk again. They're five-star albums. The Yes
Yes,
album,
yes.
this
Yep,
one, and that one to me are five-star albums.
yep.
Ranking them is really tough. But
Yeah.
I'm going to put the one that everybody puts at number one as number two, and that's Close to the Edge. And
Okay.
Close to the Edge is a perfect album. I love it to death. There's not. It's amazing. And what you said, Close to the Edge, the title track is incredible because it was really a lot of little songs that they put together. How they did that so seamlessly to make it seem like it was just one song is amazing. I guess like Genesis with Supper's Ready is kind of the same thing. It's genius because it's just perfection. It's just amazing. And then if I and you and I music doesn't get better than a you and I, especially the end part.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
I levitate out of my body. I'm like flying to heaven, man.
Yes.
It's so
Complete.
powerful.
Yeah.
And Siberian Khatru is an amazing rocker. Love that one.
I
It's
love that
perfect.
too. Yeah.
So it easily could have been number one, but it's not number one, which I'll describe later why it's not. But it's close to the edge. It's perfection. It's number
Yeah.
two.
Again, we're just ranking perfect records here. So
We are. It really is. Yeah.
that's why we had to put it out there that these are all five. So it's like we're just going
These albums, yeah, that's for
yeah.
sure.
And it really just comes down to, like we said earlier, how much you listen. Maybe you listen to this the most or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, and that's kind of what I did with this, because the Yes album I listened to a ton, and there's just something about this record. You nailed it earlier when you said this is my number two. You said that they took a huge quantum leap on this record, and you're absolutely right. There's just, I don't know what happened, but they just hit another gear on this album, and is so much melody on here, so many memorable songs. I mean, yours is no disgrace. I've heard that a million times. I never get tired of it. Starship Trooper, same deal.
Oh my God.
That I never get tired of the ding 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 and whatever that
Oh,
worm.
the whole worm part is like
Yeah.
incredible. Oh my God.
And it just keeps going and going and going and
Oh,
it's just awesome.
it's so powerful. Amazing.
Hypnotic. And I love Seeing All Good People. It's a great melodic, song. It's just it sticks in your head, that whole,
Oh, it's a classic.
you
It's a
know,
classic.
move
Yeah.
on back to squares. What is it? Take a straight and stronger course to the corner of your life. I mean, I just love that track. So good.
And
Uh,
it's difficult music. Like as a musician, I don't think I can play it. I'm a drummer. Even when I was good, I don't think I could. I mean, it's just off and it's on and it's off, and they make it so easy when it's not easy. It's like it's amazing. And it's
yeah.
commercial, but it's not commercial.
Exactly. You said it one time. I think we were talking about the Kinks. You said if it's so easy to make a hit song, then everyone would do it.
Everybody would do it. Yeah, it's like, it's incredible.
And this is
Yeah.
almost like complex songs that still have melody and are still hooky. It's just like it's even harder to do. So it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And Perpetual Change. Oh my
Mm.
God. I mean, the live version on Yes Songs is just like with the Bill Bruford drum solo on it. But
Yeah.
I love this version too. So the Yes album it's just awesome. I mean, it's just awesome. So it's number 2 for me.
And I got to say, I love that you're showing the vinyl because it looks so good on vinyl. Looks so great. So that only leaves one left for me, and I put Fragile at number one. So
Yeah.
why do I put Fragile at number one? Because I think I mentioned my sister. I have a 4 year old. My sister's 4 years older than me, and she was a big Yes fan. And this was her first Yes album.
Yeah.
That and I guess the Yes album around the same time. And I grew up listening to this album. I mean, I was like 8, 9, or 10 years old, and this album just blew me away from a very young age. And then I duped it onto an 8 track because I had an 8 track
Oh,
player.
nice.
So that's
Okay.
why I didn't have to keep borrowing a vinyl album. And I just played this album to death. And you already described it, but it's a really interesting album because it's like a song and then a solo spot and a song and a solo spot. And a lot of people criticize this album for that, but I think the solo spots are really, really cool. And this is the golden age of albums. So it takes you on a journey. And you said when John Anderson does We Have Heaven, but you're sitting there listening to this, and all of a sudden you hear like a prison door slam and you hear the footsteps away. It's just like it's a really cool, journey. And then Mood for a Day, is amazing Steve Howe song. I think it's the best solo thing he's ever
Oh
done. And
yeah.
Heart of the Sunrise, is this album better than Close to the Edge or the Yes album? No. But it's a really special album for me. This is the album that got me into Yes. And then I quickly bought one other album that I'll talk about after. So it's my number one, but they're 5-star albums. These 3 albums are all 5 stars.
Yep. 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 No, it's funny. I had a feeling it was going to come to that because I was going to ask you earlier about what's your favorite or how'd you get into Yes. So I had a feeling it might come out during our discussion. So there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, there it is. Fragile. So which is a great way to start. Wow. That's a great way
Yeah.
to start. And you can get addicted real quick when Fragile's your first record, right?
And
Uh,
also back in those days, radio actually played Yes, and you would hear Roundabout on the radio a lot. It was like a turntable hit, and I guess it was a hit in its own right, I guess. But it's a shame because now radio, I can't remember hearing Roundabout on commercial radio in decades, and that thing got played all the time. It was a
yeah.
great song.
Oh, it did. I remember it was on radio all the time back in the
Yeah.
day. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And also Roundabout, I think might have my favorite. It's up there, Rick Wakeman solo, man. That is a cooking solo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
they
is.
rock out, and then it's like he's going.
And that bass tone on that is just like
Oh, just
it's
amazing.
it's
But
amazing.
anyway,
It still blows me. I still love it.
yeah.
Miss
All right.
Chris,
So what's your number one? Which I
yeah.
can
Well,
guess.
the obvious, right? I'm doing the
Yeah.
obvious. I'm doing the obvious number one, Close to the Edge. I mean, but ho hum, Close to the Edge, number one. But it's just you said it already. I mean, it's just I mean, Close to the Edge. well, I was listening recently to the Progeny, which is like the live in 72 or whatever. And there's like a box set where they have like a bunch of live shows from 72.
Do
Have you
you
heard
have
about
that box set?
I don't
I,
have it, but I
I
have
don't
it.
have it either because it's impossible to find, but I know when they released it. Yeah. Oh,
I don't
interesting.
have it, but it's on Apple Music, so I've got it so I can listen to it. And I listen to highlights, and there's the version of Close to the Edge on there that's just like, I mean, it's already great on Yes Songs, but then it's almost even better on Progeny. Like it's crazy. It's like so good. But you do miss Bill Bruford a little bit, I have to say. I love Alan White, but the Bill Bruford drumming is just so unique.
Yeah, they're such different drummers, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, Bruford's got that jazzy style or whatever, and that tone
Alan
on
White's a
guitar.
hard rocking drummer. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like a
exactly.
rocking drummer.
So,
Yeah, very
yeah,
different.
yeah. Alan White's more like rock, pushing the rock. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but oh man, I mean, Bill Bruford said, right? This is all I can say. He said something about they asked him, why did you leave Yes? Like he left Yes for King Crimson. They're like, why did you do that? They were like this hugely successful band. Why did you leave Yes? And I think his first answer was, we were never going to do any better than Close to the Edge.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah,
Wow.
he said something like that. He said we got lucky, and and his one of his interviews, he said we got lucky. We had all these pieces of music, and they just all like blended in perfectly together. And we just he said something about being lucky. It's interesting, um,
Wow.
but it's just so I think he felt like this is just going to be the pinnacle of the band. Like there's no way we're going to top this, and I mean
It's true, really.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because yeah, it's an interesting statement to make.
Yeah.
Um, but this is just it's just a masterpiece. We already talked about it. Close to the Edge. What can you say that's not already been said about this record? And I do love Siberian Khatru. That's I mean it's
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
there's every
It's
time that
amazing.
song comes on, it's like it gets my blood pumping like that. Do, 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 and it's just oh my god, and that do do do
Oh, yeah.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I can't do it. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's a rocker too. It's powerful. It's like boom.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh,
great album.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
So I was
go ahead. What were you
I
saying?
mean, it just doesn't get much better than this, this time of Yes is this. In fact, I did a video like greatest album runs, and I put in it doesn't get any better than like the Yes album and Close to the Edge and Fragile. It's just amazing. One other album I want to mention, the very first Yes album I ever bought. So I grew up with the Yes album and Fragile from my sister, and then I picked up Yes songs. So this is actually my very beat up to hell, and of course the artwork. If you,
Oh,
I can't
so
even
cool.
see that, but
So
and it came with a booklet as well. But this album is my favorite Yes album. Out of all of these,
yeah,
this is my go-to Yes album to this day. The problem with it, as others have said, and here it is on CD, it actually sounds better on CD. This is like a remastered one, but
yeah,
it's still not a great sounding live album, unfortunately, because it was just a technology at that time. But it does sound really good on the CD, I think. I wish it would be better.
yeah,
But you talk. It opens with Siberian Cthulhu and Heart of the Sunrise, a perpetual chant on you and I, Move for Day, Six Wives of Henry VIII, I love, Roundabout, and then it has Close to the Edge, is amazing, and then it ends with Yours is No Disgrace and Soft Your True. But progressive rock, yes, at this time, man, it doesn't get any better, and that's why it bothers me what they did to their legacy because they deserve their legacy. They should be so high.
yeah,
This is incredible.
yeah,
It's a shame.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the performances on Yes songs, they're just on.
oh, it's off the chart. Yeah, and
They're
you
so good.
and even though, like you said, like Bill Bruford and Alan White, because they're both on there. I think more Alan White than Bill Bruford. I think a lot more Alan White. But even so, like the songs are just so great. Alan White is much more powerful, and Bill Bruford's a percussionist, an incredible drummer. Oh my God. But
Yeah.
they both work. The Yes stuff is so strong that they both work. I love Yes songs.
Oh,
Just
Yes
had
songs.
I had to
Yes,
mention
phenomenal. Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And for the fact that they could put out a triple live album at the time, think about it. I mean, that's a lot of money to put out a triple for the record company to put out a triple live album that's a huge gatefold with a booklet. I mean, they were obviously a hot band at that time.
Yeah, like EOP did Welcome to, back my friends. That was triple tube. But Yes Songs is on another level to me. And
Yeah,
uh
yeah, yeah.
and actually it's kind of interesting because then they did, later on they put out Yes Shows as a live record,
Mhm.
and Yes Shows is good. I mean, it's got some really great stuff on there, but it ain't like that album.
Oh, no,
Sounds better, but
yeah, yeah. Spoiler alert! I did a video. You can check it out. I did Yes Songs versus Yes Shows like way back, and it's I had to pick Yes Songs. I mean, like you said that just the track listing alone.
oh,
Um,
it's just
you know, come on, it's just unbelievable.
yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. Those are good live records. I mean, they're both good. And what was I going to say? I had one other thing I was going to say about it. I lost my train of thought. Completely lost it.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, I don't know why, but those are both great albums. I mean, they're both very good live. They were great live band. They really
Yeah.
were.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do like Yes Shows, by the way, because it's got Time and a Word is on here, and Going
Yeah.
for the One on there, and it's even got Ritual from from
Yes. Yep.
Tales from Topographic Ocean. That's really cool. But Yes
Oh,
Songs,
oh,
this is
this
the
is what I was
best
gonna
of.
This is what I was going to say before I forget. It's you said that Yes Songs doesn't like again, a lot of people say the sound is not that great. The other thing that ELP record, the sound is not that great either.
No, it's not. It's not. It's totally not. Something about those triple live albums back then. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah,
It's almost like a step above a bootleg. It's like close. I mean, so it's one of those. But of
that's
course
true.
I still own it. I still have it. It's still great, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's like but it's just like yes, this is forget it if this is like the best of Prague. Forget if
Yeah.
it was multiple band. Like this is like unbelievable music, It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
yes gets me upset. I'm getting upset now because they were so great and how they just kind of
Yeah.
the reputation is not anywhere anymore. It's a
I,
shame.
I love that you have so much passion for that and you talk about that a lot and it's understandable. Like I know what you mean. It's almost like you're diluting a legacy, right? That could be another
It
that could be another topic we could talk about, like bands that dilute their legacy, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really true. It's like nobody talks about Yes anymore. Very rarely, and it's just like, do you understand how great, these these three albums, Agile and the Yes album and Close to the Edge, rock and roll history doesn't get any better than this, and
Yeah.
Yes song, is a summation of this. And it's like, it
Yeah.
bothers me.
Yeah. Imagine if well, I mean, they came back at pretty strong in 83 with 90125, but it's kind of almost like what if they broke up in like 1980? You know, people would probably talk about them like, oh my God, Yes was like one of the best bands of all. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's an interesting topic because I'm not being like an elitist. Like I have 90125 and Big Generator, and I actually like Talk. That's the one album out of that period that I actually like. Go figure. For some reason, Talk really grew on me. But yeah, it's a different band. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with. I think there's too many lineups and too
Yeah.
much garbage that they put out, and they've put out some really bad albums. Uh, that didn't help. Didn't help.
I remember the first one that I put on when I went, oh my God, this album's really not very good at all was Union. I,
Yeah.
I was like, this album is a mess.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't keep it. I got rid of it, and I'm
Yeah.
a completist to a certain, but not with Yes. But and what was that other one? The Billy Sherwood album, the black cover,
Open
Open
Your
Your
Eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, guys, you're just killing. It's a shame. It's
Yeah.
just a shame. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't even get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until after Chris Squire died. I mean, give me a break.
That's
They
horrible. That makes me mad. That makes me angry.
Yeah, and they should have been in on the first time that they were eligible. I mean, this is
Yeah, that's
anyway.
ridiculous. That makes me
But
mad.
anyway,
I
no, this
still
was great.
still miss Chris Squire. Miss him to death. Love his. He's probably one of my favorite bass players of all
Yeah.
time for sure. you
Yeah,
know.
to me, I put him and Entwistle. To me, that's the two big biggies. I would say, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah,
Unreal. All right, guys. Well, we could talk all night about Yes.
we
So,
could.
yeah, we could easily do it. And we're already going on these like different topics, but we're actually, it's funny. It's these like end of. It's always the like sort of the end of video discussions that always like lead to like other topics. Like, oh yeah, we could talk about that on another like we'll
That'll be
do
another
another
video.
video.
Another video.
Yes,
Yeah.
it diluted their legacy. That's our next video. Uh, so yeah. Anyway, but this has been a lot of fun, Alan. Thank you again for joining me. It's always a
Are you
blast.
kidding, Tom? Thanks for having me. I love being on your channel. And folks, write in, there's only 8 albums, so list them. What's your
Yeah,
top eight?
we want
I
to
wanted to
know.
see how many people.
Yeah.
I want to know how many people going to put Relayer on there and say, Rosenberg, you have no taste.
How much hate are we going to get from like, you
A
guys don't
lot.
know Yes, you're not real Yes fans.
I know. We are. We are real Yes fans.
You
That's good
guys aren't
word.
real fans. Real fans like Relayer and Topographic Oceans.
Just
Uh,
remember, I always say this actually on my channel is like if every album is 5 stars or 4 stars, then no albums are 5 stars or 4 stars. You have to have comparisons. And as much as you like Relayer, come on, you're really going to tell me with a straight face that Relayer is as good as these? No. So then Relayer can't be 5 stars because these are 5 stars. And
right,
that's important in life. It's important in music. It's important in movies. Everything can't be the best. It can't,
right, right.
at least in my opinion.
You got to put them somewhere.
Anyway,
got to rank them somewhere, and it's a lot of times just personal taste. So those
yeah,
are our takes, people, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a Yes fan, you've stayed with us this long. I hope you enjoyed it. We definitely, like Alan said, we want to hear what you have to say. If you think we're totally
absolutely.
off our rockers, crazy, we want to know why, and you defend your position down in the comments. I love reading the comments, so put it down there.
Absolutely. All
All
right, man. Thanks, Tom, as
right.
always.
Thanks, Alan. All right.
Really appreciate it, dude. I will see you around on the next go round.
And with that, we're going to say good night from Curlis Mania. We'll see you next time. Later.
See you around, Tom. All righty, man.